We turn our attention to our conversations on CARICOM. Joining us, as always, is His Excellency David Comissiong, who is Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM. Good morning to you, Ambassador.
Good morning, Pearson. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Now, this thing is on. We are days away from us transitioning as a republic. Yesterday alone, I went to the rehearsal for the big event that's going to be happening on the 29th, the night of the 29th into the 30th. And just to watch and to feel the excitement already, and that was just a rehearsal. We could well imagine when we transition to being a republic, how electric that night will be. So what do you think, putting all of this into context, and that's just part of my excitement building, I'm so sorry to share it with you so early in the morning. But Barbados becoming a republic within the CARICOM model, what do you think it would be our standing, and what do you think others can look on and gain from all of this?
Thanks, Pearson. Well, I'm sharing the same excitement with you. But just before looking at the CARICOM context, just permit me to quote one piece of the Constitution, one change that has been made that really brings home what it means to be a republic. Okay, and I am talking about the oaths. Oaths of allegiance and the oaths that prime ministers and ministers. Now, this is the Barbados Independence Constitution. This is the Constitution that was amended just last month. And just last month, before the amendment, this is what our oath of allegiance said. Okay, so this is David Comissiong, for example, giving the oath. I, David Comissiong, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, according to law, so help me God. Now, this is the amendment that we made just last month. And under our amended constitution, this is what I would now say. I, David Comissiong, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Barbados according to law. So help me God. And I go back to the old constitution. This is what the Governor General would have said under the old constitution. I do swear that I will well and truly serve Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors in the office of Governor General, so help me God. Let's go to the new one. The new one, this is what our president will say. I do swear that I will well and truly serve Barbados in the office of president, so help me God. The prime minister will say, I do swear that I will be faithful and loyal to Barbados, and I will uphold the Constitution and the law. So this, in a nutshell, is what we're doing here, sir. We will no longer be swearing to allegiance and to obey and to serve the Queen of England, her heirs and successors, and instead, we will be swearing allegiance to Barbados, its constitution, and its laws. And I want to also bring out that we will be swearing under the majesty of Almighty God. I see some people trying to manufacture another bogus issue about God and the Republic. Well, the oath itself tells you that we are swearing to God. I mean, there's some people who would wish to affirm. You can affirm as well. And there's no change to the preamble of the Constitution. We have retained the preamble, which says the people of Barbados proclaim that they are a sovereign nation founded upon principles that acknowledge the supremacy of God. So, Pearson, I think that encapsulates in a nutshell the change that we will be making, or that we have made, and that we will formalize on the night of the 29th of November. When we do so, Barbados will become the sixth republic in the Caribbean community.
Yes.
At present, there are three other Caribbean community states that have done like Barbados in moving away from the Queen of England. That's Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Dominica.
Yes.
And then the two other republics are Haiti, which became a republic way back in 1804, and Suriname. So Barbados will now make number six. Within the Commonwealth is the club of former British colonies. There are 53 nations within the Commonwealth. At present, there are 38 of those nations have already moved away from the monarch of England as their head of state. So Barbados will become the 39th nation within the Commonwealth that has moved away from having the Queen of England as their head of state. And so I believe that what Barbados has done is going to be an encouragement to the other Caribbean community states that still have the British monarchy as their head of state. Many of the of our CARICOM member states will be present, will be represented in Barbados at that ceremony on the 29th of November. We have sent out invitations to all 14 member states. 10 have already responded. Of that 10, about they virtually 9 of them have indicated they will be represented. One is still to come back with a firm decision, and about half will be represented at the level of the head of government. So our CARICOM brothers and sisters are taking this very seriously, and they're indicating that by their presence at our ceremony on the 29th of November.
And I think that should calm our souls a little bit, because there's no isolation as a consequence of the transition. If our CARICOM brothers stand shoulder to shoulder with us, it says we will continue to be a part of this grouping known as CARICOM.
Oh, of course. I mean, well, even the heir to the British monarchy, Prince Charles, will be here with us, indicating again that there's not bitterness or animosity in our move. This is just a very natural evolution. I'm amazed at some Bajans. Some Bajans are talking as if the 55 years that we have been independent, as if that does not exist. Barbados developed a House of Assembly in 1639, Pearson.
Yes.
Almost 400 years ago.
Yes.
And yes, it was a white-dominated House of Assembly, but we had black people in the House of Assembly from 1843 when Samuel Jackman Prescott first entered. Black politicians and political parties have had responsibility for running Barbados since the Bush experiment of responsible government way back in the 1940s. In 1650, Barbados declared independence of Britain in 1650, and actually fought a war of independence. And when they were forced to come to terms with Britain, they insisted that the British government recognize the principle of no taxation without representation. In other words, you, Britain, cannot tax Barbados unless we consent in our House of Assembly. That was done 125 years before the American colonists picked up that. 1966, Errol Barrow, we will be friends of all, satellites of none. 2002 to 2005, we moved away from the Privy Council and established the Caribbean Court of Justice as our highest court. So that is Barbados,
yes.
A sophisticated, self-respecting, self-reliant country. And so all that we are doing now, we are saying, look, rather than having a Governor General being the representative of the Queen, the Governor General will become the president and will be our head of state, not representing anybody, not acting as anybody's agent, but our own Barbadian, democratically elected head of state.
Well, we're just days away. I know this coming Tuesday and Wednesday in the Houses of Parliament, the debate on the Charter of Barbados, I think it's critical that we all pay attention to hear what is involved there to get a sense of who we are, because as you just outlined, the history, I think, needs to be told. There are a lot of what you've just said, a lot of people just don't know. And just so we understand more about who we are and our place within everything and what we've been able to achieve over the centuries, it is critical that we pay closer attention, and so we can understand and respect who we are as a people as well. Ambassador Comissiong, I've got to leave it there. It always feels as if the clock works against you and me every Monday morning. But nevertheless, I'm so grateful for your contribution. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Always a pleasure, Pearson. Thanks.
Indeed. Thank you too.